Hello everyone. So in this video we'll talk about the Rollup field in the dynamics. As we know, the Rollup field was introduced from CRM 2015. So the what is Rollup field? So when we create the Rollup field in the dynamics, so it will be similar to the physical field or the normal field in the dynamics, and the data which is having on the Rollup field, it will be committed to the table of the database. So similarly, so it will be behaving like to the normal field, but it's not entirely similar to the normal field. So the thing is how the roller field data is being calculated. So whenever we will create the new roller field in the dynamics, then with respect to that field on that entity, there will be two system jobs created, and those jobs will be running when those jobs will running, and when that job will be run when the job is performed, that is operation, then the calculation will happen asynchronously. So it's not this synchronously that will, as soon as the job is started and it's committed, then we'll have the data there. So then so that the data of that field will be calculated asynchronously. So what are the two types of jobs which will be created? So whenever we are adding the new roller field on the entity, there will be the mass calculated roller field, one job system job created, another is calculated roller field. So the mass calculated roller field is created for each roller field. Like whenever you are adding the new roller field in the dynamics, with respect to that, one mass calculated roller field will be created, and it will run once in 12 hours. Like since we have created that field, after 12 hours it will be running, it will run automatically. If you want to reschedule that immediately, you can do that. You can resume that system job. So once it has run, then it will be postponed to the for long time, because that field is created, and with respect to that field there is no much change. That is why it will be postponed. But if you want to calculate the data immediately, then for that there is a separate job that is called the calculated roller field, and this job is specific to the entity. And you can, if you want to calculate manually immediately, then you can resume this job immediately and it will do the calculations. But by default it will be running every 1 hour in the system. So these two jobs you can find on the system jobs from this setting area. And when you delete this roller field, then this system jobs also will get removed from the system. So means as long as you are having the roller field in the system, these two type of system jobs will be present in the dynamics. Once the fields are removed, roller field is removed, then with respect to that, whatever the system jobs we are having, it will be also removed. Now how the roller field is designed. So when we create the roller fields, it will have the three components involved. One is the field name. So usually when the roller field we are creating, we'll give the name of that field where the actual data will be stored. Now we'll have the another field with respect to that, that is the date, and it indicates when the last time the field has calculated the data, and so that the details will be stored in the field name underscore date. So this indicate when the last time the calculations on that field has happened. Okay, and next is a state. This indicate when the calculations happen, then what was the state of that calculations. So here we are having the several state value. So if it is 0, if suppose in the field name state if we are getting 0, then which indicates it is not calculated. If it is 1, then means it was calculated. If it is 2, then it was some error and it has overflow error. Now when it is 3, then other error. 4 means retry limit exceeded. 5 hierarchical recursions limit reached, and 6 is the loop detected. So these are this different state, and this numeric value of this one from 0 to 6 can be in the state value, and from there we can find what was the state of the calculations which was performed at the latest date which is present in the date value. Okay, so now thing is what type of calculations this roller field will be doing. Then here the some aggregate calculations will be doing, unlike the calculated field where it will do the mostly calculations on the numeric value and the date values and the some string calculations, string formatting, and those concatenation those will be doing by the calculated field. But in the case of roller field, it will be it will be using the aggregate calculations such as like sum of the values, max values, minimum values, count, and average. So these are the aggregate calculations will be performed by the roll-up field. Now the question is, can we use this value in the plugin, and can we use this roller field in the trigger point? See, first of all, the roller field is not entirely similar to the normal field, and that is why we cannot have the roller field as a trigger point for your workflow or plugin. However, if you want to retrieve the data of that roller field in your plugin or workflow or any kind of process, then always you can have the latest value for that field. So the means any kind of process or the plugins where we want to use the data of this roller field, we can have the latest value calculated from that. Okay, so these are the some important points of the roller field, and we'll see some limitations before we use the roller field. So roller fields have the following limitations I have noted. There could be other limitation also. Okay, we'll discuss these limitations here. The rollup attributes can't be used as an event as mentioned before, because the roller field is not entirely as a normal field. So we cannot use that roller attributes as a plugin or workflow trigger point, and we cannot use that in the await condition of the workflow. The when update will happen, like suppose roller field doing calculations, so it will have the data update on that field. So this update is not similar to the normal update message of the update event of the dynamics. That is why it will not modify your modify by date and modified by user and modified on date. So that is why, since this is not the actual update event of the dynamics, that is why we cannot use this field as a event for the your plugin and the workflow. However, in the also when you design the roller field, you can have up to 100 roll-up attributes in your organization, and for each entity you can have up to 10 roll-up attributes. The role in the rollup attribute formula, when you design that time, if you want to reference the another rollup attribute, that you can't do. But in the case of calculated field, there you can reference the another calculated field. But in the case of rollup attribute, you can't reference the another rollup attributes. However, if you want to reference the another calculated attributes, you can do that. But that calculated attribute should not be having the complicated calculations there, because if the calculated attributes is using the another calculated attributes, then it will be more complicated. So those kind of complicated calculated attributes you cannot reference in the formula of the roller field. uh, if you are working with the records, then you can have the you can use the record of with the relationship of 1 to n, but you can't use the n to n relationship. When you're using the 1 to n relationship records, then there are some exceptions, like if you're having the if your record is having relationship with the activity pointer and the activity party, except these two entity, all the all other entity relationship you can use. But when you have relationship with these two entity, you can't use roller field for that. Now if you in the design of the formula, when you do the calculations, so there you will have the chances to enable the hierarchy. When you enable the hierarchy, then we can use the child entities of the child entities. Like suppose you are defining the role of attribute for the entity A, and for that entity A you are having the child entity B, and for that B entity you are having the another child entity C. So if you want to use the data of the C entity and B entity, then you have to enable the formula design hierarchical equal to yes. When you have, then only the deep I mean you can go to deep down of your related child entities, and you can refer the data. Now, when we use this roller field, then in the behind in the dynamics in the behind database, there will be a stored procedure created for that. And as per the stored procedure lookup, we can see there are around 50,000 records of the child entities records, we can use that one. If we have more than 50,000 records referring for the calculations, then you may have the error. So up to the 50,000 related child entities records, we can use for the calculations. So now this is the theory about the roller field, and we'll see the demo of how to create the roller field. Okay. Here I have logged into the Dynamics, and I have opened the advanced setting also, and from the advanced setting I have opened my solution. So here this is my solution in the Dynamics. So in this solution I have the two custom entity, university and student. University is my parent entity and the student is my child entity. So in the Dynamics I have on as a from the university I have the child entities here as a student here. So you can see the university is my parent and the students are my child entity. So here's the scenario which I'm going to achieve here. I want to add the new field here as a roll-up field. Okay, and this field should sum all the value from the student record, all the student record which is having lookup of this particular university. And uh, when this record is created, a student record is created, then it should calculate all the university fee value given here, and it should display onto the university here. Total revenue it should generate from the child one. So this is very simple scenario I will be doing in the demo using the roller field. So for that, we have to create the roller field on the university. But before that, we should understand against which field we are going to create the roller field. So this is we are going to add the aggregation on the field called university. First, we have to understand what is the data type of this field. So when I went to my solution here, you can see in the fields of this student, I'm having the university fee, and this field is of type currency. So the roller field also we have to create of the field type currency. Okay, and that will be created for the entity university. Okay, and the aggregation type of which I will be taking is the sum, because we have to display the total revenue of that. If you want to display the average, you can do that. If mix minimum maximum, those are different aggregate function what we have discussed in the theory. We can use that one. So now I'm going to create the new field of for the university entity, and that will I'll put that field on the form later on. So first we will create that field. So here I'll give the name of this field as a total revenue. Okay. Then here the data type I will be taking as a currency, because this field the university fee field is the currency type, so that is why we will be using that one. Unlike the calculated field where we can mix up the data type, we can mix up the data type for the calculations, but in the roller field we can't do that one. So it is specific to the what data type we are going to use in the aggregation. So I will taking the data type as a currency here. The type will be the here. Field type will be roll up here. And as I think I didn't mention in the theory that the data type available here, all the data types are not applicable for the roll up field. You can see like lookup. For that lookup, we don't have the aggregate. I mean, we don't have the roll up as a field type. Like for customer, we don't have field type. So it's not applicable on all the roll up all the data type here. So like you can foresee image we don't have, but like for the whole number we are having the roll up here. For the decimal we are having the roll up. There are some fields we their roll ups are present, like for case of currency we are having the roll up here. So just for the theory, like all the data type applicable in the fields are not applicable for the roll up. Only few out of those set, only few fields are applicable for the roll up. So I have selected the field type as, data type as a currency, and the field type as rollup. Okay, the precision I want as a 2 decimal points. Okay, then I will get the total revenue rollup field. Okay, so my total revenue roller field is created. Now using this edit button, I can design the formula which will do the calculation. And here you can see in the design we are having the source entity. We have to select from which entity you want to do the calculations with. So here is the field called use hierarchy. In the theory I have mentioned, if you want to use the child of the child record, child of the child records, like suppose if you're going to create the roller field for entity A, and entity is A is having the child entity as entity B, and for that B entity is having the child entity as C, then if you want to use this C entity as your calculations in the entity A, then you will use this hierarchy. You have to enable that one. So in my scenario, I don't have any child entity applicable here for the student. That is why I'm not able to change that one. If you are having, you can change that this to yes. Okay, so you can use this use hierarchy feature to enable that one. So here the my source entity is university, where I'm going to create this field, and the related entity which I'm going to use here, so it will always display your deep level of your child entity. If you have enabled the yes, then you can find your old related child entities here. Since I have only one child entities, it is displaying here. So I will be selecting that my related child entities here. Okay, and on that I want to do aggregation. So you can in the theory we have seen there are the different type of aggregations we can do. We can have this sum, max, minimum, average. Okay, and there is another field called count. That will happen when you are doing the calculation, finding the number of records available there. So here since I am doing for the currency, based on that it has removed the count aggregation, and it is displaying what is the possible aggregations I can perform on that field available on that my related entity here. Okay, so I want to find the sum of the field which is present on this entity, and the field name is the university fee. So this is a simple design, and we'll set this yes. So now my design of this calculation is completed. I'll save this, and I'll go to the form here from this entity. I'll open the form, main form, and I will put the recently created roller field on the form. So I will put the total revenue field on the form. And also in the theory we discussed when we are creating the new field as a roller field, then the other two fields are created. One is the I mean the field schema name underscore date. So this field is, you can see, it is created. Another is state. So this field indicates when the last time the calculation has happened. So I will put that field also on the form. So I'll put this field also below the revenue, and the state also on the revenue, or state also on the form. So what will happen, this field will give you actual calculated value. This field indicates when the last calculation has happened, and this field indicates when calculation has happened what was the state then. Okay, whether it was completed, calculated, or if it has in some error, or it went through the infinite loop, those ones. Okay, so it will give the state number of that. So I have put that field on the form. I'll save and publish. Okay, so now we have added these three fields on the form. So this field will be present on the form now. I'll go to the form and refresh this. Okay, so you can see the field is present, but you don't have data here, which indicates the our job is not yet run. And for to find the job, you can go to your advanced setting, and from there you can go to setting and system jobs. There you will find the system job created for this field here on the university entity. So any role of field when you create on the entity, with respect to that there will be two system job created. One is called the mass calculation, another is called the roll-up field calculation. So one is specific to the entity. So we will find those two system job here. To find that, you can view the all system jobs, and here you can have the all the related all system jobs. Then I'll go to the roll up calculation system jobs, and here I will have my roll up job created for the university entity. So I will find that one here. You can see I have the calculator roll up field for the university entity, and there will be another, this one, mass calculate for the sorry, not this one. Let me refresh this. There will be mass calculate for the university entity. There will be two system job created. Here it is. So you can see I have two job. One is calculate roller field for the university. So this is specific to the entity, and this is specific to the particular roller field. So this job will be running only once, and it will trigger it. But by default, the trigger point of this job will be set after 12 hours. You can see today I have created, and it has set some default trigger point of this job. So if you want to resume this job at any point of time, you can select that job, and you can resume this one from here. Then immediately this will be queued, and it will run immediately. So, and this job, this calculator roller field, which is specific for this entity, it will be running at the interval of maximum 1 hour. You can schedule this job for maximum of 1 hour. If you want to do immediate calculation, then you have to use this action options to resume this job immediately. Okay, so since my job is not yet run, this is in waiting for the time. That is why I don't have the calculated value in my form here. So let me see what are the records I'm having, and all those records are having the data or not. So in this record I'm having the 4,000. Okay, for the 3 I'm having, there's no data, so let me add the 5,000 here. Okay, and for the case of this one, 5,000 here. Okay, for the 4 also 5,000. So total sum is 5,000, 5,000 plus this one is 4,000. So total is 14,000. So it should display total 14,000 on the form here in the calculated, I mean total revenue here, and it should display one last calculated happen, and then what was the state of the calculation. So for that, since job will take some time to run, so what I'll do, uh, I will resume this job now, and I will wait for the job to get finished. Okay, so I will select this job, and I will resume this. When we resume this job, then immediately this job will be pushed here in the top, and we can see that it will be waiting for running. Now you can see the calculator field is job is came here, and it will be running immediately in some time, and then the value will be calculated. Here I can see these two job, my mass calculated university roller field, and the here total field, this job is completed. So once it is succeeded, then this job will be postponed to for the next 10 years. So I will have the next recurring time of this job will be for the next time 10 years. So like that, and there is a calculated roller field. Once it is run, then it will be scheduled for the upcoming after 1 hour. Next to 1 hour, it will be running again. So if this job will be running if every interval of 1 hour. If you want to prepone or postpone on the specific time, then you can select that particular job, and then you are having the options to postpone that. You can select the specific time, and you can use that feature also to run your job at a specific time. So we can see once my job, these two system jobs are run, and they have completed their task, then asynchronously by the logic, it will the value of that revenue will be completed. So I can see the calculations in my dynamics. When I refresh this, you can see the value of that is coming here. So it has last time it has run at this time, and the total revenue and it was last time it was updated on the state, and the state is one which indicates it has calculated. So this is how you can design the roll-up field. I hope now you have understood it, and Thank you watching this video, guys.